If that didn't just, have our three listeners just hit stop, I don't know what will. That was very impressive. And this is a case where the ethnically ambiguous nature of Neil Padover really comes in, because I would assume, like, you are a South American who is deeply passionate about the world's game. Like, I see it right now. I see it. I see it. Like, New Jersey Jews in the rear view. Like, maybe for the last 22 seconds. It's crazy.
I'm just waiting to get a text message from my downstairs neighbor.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's what happened. I'm going to
home.
Oh, really? Don't we all?
What do you think about that? I mean, I know where I'm in New York City, we all live on top of each other, but it's not my fault that he works from home. I mean, like, I gotta make noise sometimes,
So what are you asking me? That's the question.
I could tell there's annoyance from time to time when...
What do I think, that your neighbor's annoyed with you? I think
because, he expects it to be just quiet at all times, and it's like, you live in New York, like, you got to go find, like, a soundproof booth. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is...
I will use this as a little reference, just a little touch to a recent international travel that the Khan family did. So we stayed at an Airbnb in a city called Zaragoza, which you probably haven't heard of, but I guess it's a pretty big city. And, it kind of reminded me of being in New York, because we had to take the stairs up several floors all the time, and we would walk past this one floor and the door was wide open. And, it's interesting, in Europe, people still smoke cigarettes, you know what I mean, versus the whole vape thing. And the smell of cigarettes was strong. There was, honestly, like, the largest cat I've ever seen. Like, I would call it fat, but it was just so large. It was insane. It was like as big as my dog, which is like 65 pounds, but obese. And, the smell of cigarettes, a lot of kitty litter, a super fat cat. And it made me think, God, when you're in New York City, you probably just wonder about that one person in Unit 3B. You know what I mean? What's their story? I feel like, there's just... And then, after a while, you'd be like, over the course of 3 days, you're like, oh, the door's closed. What happened? Is the person still there? Like, did something happen? They always had their door open. And it just made me think of the New York City life of, like, wow, you have neighbors that are in just close proximity, and you just see them in a way that I don't see living in our case, a townhome, but basically, having our own walls. Interesting. It's very interesting. I could see how it could drive you crazy, or a certain neighbor could drive you crazy, or vice versa. And that's
I can't talk about it on the pod yet. Maybe one day. It occurs to me that perhaps you're sharing the plot of Rear Window, the Hitchcock film. Isn't that the whole idea? Like, you're...
Yeah, there you go. You're right. It is. It is Rear Window. You're right.
Yeah. Anyways, how was your Father's Day, by the way?
My Father's Day was classic. Welcome to just being a dad and dad life. I had one person say to me, oh, happy Father's Day, because I literally was standing in an aquarium in Chicago going, why am I holding my son's sweatshirt? When did this happen? So we were in Chicago for a volleyball tournament. It was the second time I went to Chicago inside of a week. Unfortunately, Heath, he has a little bit of an injury and he wasn't able to play. So not only this isn't as stressful as what you went through when you had to take your two young children on the plane solo, but I had to like cart Heath on crutches. We had the wheelchair assist because we were like, you know what, maybe he'll get better enough to play. He didn't, but had to get him to Chicago on a flat tire. And yeah,
Wait,
we were in,
on a
yeah.
flat tire.
Sorry, that's just my little code for his foot didn't work. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm
His
very
busted
literal. They call me Anelia Bedelia.
foot. What is that? I remember that, and I don't remember that.
Amelia Bedelia is a young children's book series about a girl who takes everything literally. Her name is Amelia Bedelia. My name is
Hmm.
Neil, hence Anelia Bedelia. That's
Oh,
her.
I didn't even see the. Okay, good. Well, the clarification just also reinforces your cleverness. So my Father's Day was spent watching a volleyball game tournament, and then we had some time to kill. So we went to the aquarium in Chicago and looked around at a bunch of stuff, which was nice. And then we flew out of O'Hare after a bit of a delay. But like it was a good Father's Day. I was surrounded by the team, fellow dads, and moms and siblings and stuff like
Yeah.
that too. It was good. It was good. I love Chicago in June is a nice visit. Nice visit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, they
recommend.
say, what do they have? 90 days of summer, 60 days, with 100 days of summer. They have a certain amount of days
Yeah.
that is meant to explain that they only have a limited window for nice weather.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny is I grew up, in St. Louis, and we would go to Chicago in the summer, so I've been there a bunch. I've only, many, many times, probably been there at least a dozen times. And the funny thing is I've only been to Chicago once when it was cold. It was cold. It was very cold in December. Yeah, that's no joke. I'm sure Shira has her war stories. Oh, and you know what else? The
Mm.
Obama Center opened. I mean, Chicago gets pretty busy in the summertime. And I was there earlier this week, Phil. I was there for the James Beard Awards, then the Obama Center opened. I don't know, there's like so much stuff happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But yeah.
exciting, except don't tell Bill Maher you're excited about it because he has a lot of thoughts on the Obama Center. This guy who,
Was
by
he
the way,
trashing? Really? He was
he's
even
about to,
trashing
he's
that?
about to, listen to this. Bill Maher is about to go accept the Mark Twain Prize for comedy at the Trump-led Kennedy Center Honors, and he's being presented the award by Louis C.K. and Stephen A. Smith. Like, could you get more of a gross, icky, sexual predatory sentence? And he's like, no, they wasted all this money on the Obama Center. I was like, Bill Maher, my
They?
guy, like,
Who's they?
you are, oh, you gotta, it's Wanda Sykes put it best when she said, Bill Maher, you've given us so much, but we'd like a little bit less. And he was
And
so
he was so
upset. He
offended
was so
too. Like,
upset. And
yeah.
she told on an interview with Jesse David Fox for Vulture, she said, we were waiting outside for our cars, and he's like, what was that about? And she's like, it was a joke, Bill. And he's like, well, I didn't think it was very funny. Like this, I mean, could you imagine being a comedian for that long? Like, that's what you put on your taxes as your profession, and he's just like, cannot take a joke? What a
Well, you know what
sad
it is?
existence.
It's like he's so thin-skinned for being a guy who just he's just a bully. That's the thing. You know what it is? Bully. You're a freaking bully.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one thing to like go poke fun at stuff, but he is a bully. He's a bully. He's a mean, mean, mean
Yeah.
bully.
I don't think he's very, honestly, very much different from Tucker Carlson. He's just like maybe like understands the construction of
Not at all.
joke writing
Actually,
slightly more.
I think Tucker is more entertainment than news. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think that is actually a spot on. That's like, I don't know, Jaguar Cheetah. I can't tell the difference. Can you?
No. I do think, I'll button this up and get to what we're actually supposed to be talking about
You're
today.
right.
But I do think Bill Maher has a kink for being hated. I think he gets off on it. I think he enjoys being hated, whether he admits it or not. I think it tickles him, and I think it's what makes him feel alive because he doesn't really have anything else. His soul is kind of empty. He has no family. He has no real friends who are able to kind of check him or be honest with him. Sure, he has wealth and women that he beds, but I think he's pretty lonely and sad. And I think he self medicates with compliments from people who sit next to him in a little room while they smoke weed together. But ultimately, I think it's the only way he feels alive is to be
Yeah.
hated. So,
Yeah, yeah. I will say this though, you dropped about that was a serious military strike. I don't think the nuclear site in Iran got hit quite as hard as Bill did right now. And you
well,
just
we know that Bill, he's a good sport and he'll take it in stride, so he won't be offended at all.
what was that about?
Well, I didn't think it was very funny.
I mean, here's the thing though. Obviously, it works because he does get under my skin. But you know what? I'll say this too. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with calling out someone for just being mean. It's like, wow, you're just mean.
Yeah.
I don't have to like lose. I don't have to flip my lid to just say, wow, you just. At some point, you're like, is this really how you want to just be perceived as being this mean and basically
Yes.
like
Yes.
softy heartless? It's like, you know what I mean? Just softy heartless.
Yeah.
That's what Omar is to
So,
me.
all right, you commented on my hat. Let's
I
pivot.
did. Because obviously I have World Cup on the brain. Duh.
And the thing is, I don't know. I got the hat at CVS because I wanted to feel a part of something. It was so revved up after these
I feel
games.
like you say that every time you go into CVS. You go into CVS and you're like, excuse me, miss or sir, I'm not here to judge. And you go, I just want to feel a part of something. What do you recommend?
And you know what they say? Here's your Zoloft, sir.
Oh, I didn't even think about the pharmacy part. I was more thinking about just browse shopping.
Yeah, I'm like the Little Mermaid. I'm like, I just want to go where the people are. CVS. Yeah. So I
I
got.
smell our next TikTok.
Yes.
It could be up there with Jewish mothers.
I
That
told you
would
about that, right?
no.
Well, I did this Jewish mother character because everyone was very
Several
excited
times,
that
I
Jalen
believe.
Brunson is married to a Jewish woman named Allie Brunson, and I
I
did
had
this.
no idea. That's cool. See, the more you know.
You didn't watch the video?
No, I just watched the clip.
Anyways,
I mean, I
the whole joke is that it's like your Jewish mother calling you about the Knicks to talk about
right.
the fact that Jalen Brunson's wife is Jewish. And the reason that it got so many views and so many shares and so many comments is because almost every Jewish person who saw it was just like, this literally, my mother called me to tell me
What's
this.
so funny is I saw the caption, but I'll tell you, lesson learned here. We're gonna go Gary Vee for a second. Goes to show you how much it just says to put the text in the caption because it says it all. Like in your expression, it was
Yeah.
you might want to consider having long hair.
So listen, yeah.
That just looks so
I mean, I
crazy.
am not a pretty woman. So what
I
happened?
meant it's like you picked up someone's head. It just looked so. Hey, P.S. That was a little. That was something.
Little
That was
psycho. So no,
yeah.
Shira, like a couple days after it started to catch some traction on the old socials, she's just like, "Yeah, I saw your little wig video." Her friend Leah sent it to her, and she said, "This guy kind of looks like Neil." And she's like, "Yeah, that is Neil." So
Knowing how she avoids any of this content,
she sure
almost
does.
maybe not like the
She
plague. That
sure
might be a
does.
little harsh.
She gave us a little plug on Father's Day. She plugged the show on her Instagram, so that was. I don't know if you.
Turns out getting near 4K will make believers out of
Yeah,
anybody.
almost. Let's see. Well, let's see how many people have watched me be a Jewish mother. And then we'll get back to what this show's really about, which
World
is
Cup. World
sports.
Cup. We're going to talk about World
Um,
Cup. World
191,000 people. watched one of those Jewish mother videos. 84,000 watched the other. So I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's no Joe
Perfect.
Gonzalez. It's no I don't know, Dr. Malobsky. But hey, it meant something to people.
Hey, you know what? That was then, this is now. But you know what else is even more now than the Knicks winning their first championship in 53 years? Is that right?
Yes.
Is the World Cup. It is happening. It's big. And Neil, I feel like this is one of the very few things where I know a little bit more than you, except that then you went ahead and made a actual factual outline, and I can't just tell you about my experiences watching the World Cup,
Well, I
which
do want to
really,
hear. The truth is this: I am that guy. I'm that jerk, right? Who I
sorry,
remember a few years ago there was a soccer game. Excuse me, football game, football,
no judgment. It's
whatever you
fine.
want to call it, a soccer game on
Outside.
someone's apartment, and they were watching it, and it was like they were going crazy, both of
Yeah,
them back and forth.
yeah,
They're going crazy, and it's 0-0. And
right.
15 minutes later, I come upstairs and they're still watching and they're still going crazy and it's still 0-0.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't get it. Like
yes, totally.
I look, great workout. These guys are in incredible shape. You got
Yeah,
massive lung capacity and
yeah,
patience and ability to run up and down the field, up and down the field. But other than that, it's like, yeah, we had a really good run, boys. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like I don't understand
yeah,
how you can look at a 0-0 game
sure.
and say how exciting. And I know that the knock on professional basketball is, oh, you don't even have to watch till the fourth quarter. Nothing happens until the fourth quarter. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down.
Yeah,
However, I do find it exciting to watch points go up. I find it exciting to watch people move, you know, back and forth on a court and actually score
sure.
in different ways over the hour as opposed to just, yeah, they kick the ball a lot. So explain to me what I'm missing because I'm clearly missing it. Like
Yeah,
billions of people are obsessed
yeah.
with this sport and I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so many ways to tackle this thing. I would say this: you probably could not be coming from a worse place than to literally watch the New York Knicks, your New York Knicks, win a championship after 50 plus years and now suddenly be jettisoned into the World Cup. Because you're right, like it really does take switching gears. And I almost think of it like this, like it's kind of like going to different, if you went to a live music festival and it's not all just one genre. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I was listening to hip hop and now I'm listening to jazz and now it's like classical. It's like it does take some gear switching, and there's no doubt about it. Like the it's not a high point scoring game. It's hard to kind of go what's happening. You're kind of waiting on bated breath, but that's just kind of it. And I would say this might strike you as equally boring, but it's very similar to watching literally like you're watching one of the last strikes in the World Series where there's just so much tension, and then that tension does obviously happen in basketball, especially when it's down to under 10 seconds and the point differential is three or less. Like that's what the game is for an entirety. The whole time. Now, you also have to back up and kind of say this like when you're watching World Cup kind of casually, and this is the only soccer you watch, you're also going, oh, well, how hard can it be? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, Shaq, he's just big, like if you actually watch other soccer and then you watch World Cup, you're like, oh my God, these guys are so much better. And that's even something that I didn't really have context for until we started watching MLS. So I'll kind of start with my experience of it. Then we're going to get into some fun facts, Neil. Some fun facts. But I just want to start off with this because you made a great document about facts, and soccer has a ton of history. I have a question for you. When did the World Cup start, and in what country?
Um, I know this. I know it's Uruguay
Whoa,
because
you wrote this. Fine, you know it's your.
I did the research.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
Yes.
remember. Was it the 40s, the 1940s?
1930. 1930. So
Okay.
if if you think about it, in some ways, in the history of the world, I suppose it's not that old, but it's been around a long time. But I think the fact that it's like, oh wow, like Uruguay. Let's think about
Wait,
that.
that means we're coming up on 100 years. The next World Cup's going to be really exciting, huh?
Yes, I guess. I don't know.
No,
I mean,
isn't
I
that
wish
pretty
I
exciting?
watched as much of the old stuff that I did. But I think that brings up two things, that little fact. One is, there's a lot of history which, hey there, hey there, Google. Hey there, Google Calendar. That was rude. I'm doing a podcast for crying out loud. We'll have to call Google, tell them not to do that ever again on World's Greatest Dad podcast. But look, World Cup has a lot of history, and what's really fun, and this is what Heath does a lot, is he will see clips from like the past. Like he's watching stuff about Pele, like in the night, black and white stuff in the 1950s of him being bonkers. Oh, hey, the edge light came on automatically. Great. So A, there's a lot of history, and B, it really connects with the world. So I think both
So
those.
say more about that. I mean, is part of it literally? And again, I'm just trying to understand why. I'm not one of those people that's like that's easy or who cares. Like I understand it's a skill. I understand these
Mhm.
people are at the top of their game. I'm just not entertained by it, and I think there's something wrong with me. And I
Mhm.
want to be entertained by it. You know, what ultimately ended up getting me into basketball was like all of the emotional resonance surrounding it. You know, the stories of the players, the story of the city, the fact that my son was into it, like, and then the mechanics of the game um, helped me, you know, like fill in the gaps of those emotional notes, if that makes sense. I'm a story guy, you know, so
Yeah, of course, of
I'm
course.
like, all right, cool. Like, to me, okay, are all these people they're playing because they have so much pride for their country? Is that it? Is that what it is? Like, I thought people hate their countries. There's certainly a lot of Americans hate America. I mean, half of, you know, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, if you're from Iran, you know,
Yeah.
and you hate your government because they're
Mhm.
slaughtering you, um, and then you probably also hate the U.S. because we're also, you know, bungling a war and slaughtering you. Like, what's your aim here? Or are you just like, you know what? I'm just a soccer player. I don't really get into that stuff. You're like Nate Bargatze. You're like, I'm not political. I just kind of like kick a ball.
Well, I actually think it is because they care about the country, right? So I think what the big difference is that you can love your country and love it for something more than the elected or perhaps leadership oligarchy that happens to just exist. That they love their country more. In fact, on that note, I thought what was interesting was they're playing. Iran is playing in Los Angeles, huge Iranian population. Tarangelis is a nickname of the city, right? And a lot of people who are from Iran, Persian, if you will, a lot of them fled in 1979 after the Islamic Revolution when the Ayatollah Khomeini and the clerics took power. Um, it was
Okay,
interesting.
now
Yeah,
you're speaking my language
yeah,
because
yeah.
now what I'm taking from this is it's people who have a complicated relationship with
Yes.
their homeland, and as someone who's a Jew, someone from New Jersey, you know, I have complicated relationships with both of those parts of my identity. I, you know, love and loathe both of them, right? You know, aspects of both of them, and if I'm understanding correctly, it's like they're rooting for what Iran was, what it
It
could
could
be.
be,
They're
yeah.
mourning,
And
perhaps what it's become.
And even that is divisive because what I saw in, like, again, doom scrolling in between you being a Jewish mother and me failing to watch the video in its entirety was, these people basically kind of, protesting slash arguing with some people saying, how can you support this team and support, this government, and the other people saying, I'm supporting this team in this country, and it doesn't have to be about the government. I can't speak to everyone who's rooting for Iran in the World Cup, but I can't say that all of them are there because the mullahs said so. You know what I mean? Like, you look at these play. Some of those players too, by the way. Like, I was watching one because they were playing France. The dude, like, his dad fled. Oh wait, no, my bad. That was Iraq. Bam, wrong. Bad on me. But that's another great example. I was watching Iraq play France, and the player, his dad fled Iraq when Saddam Hussein was in power, and fled to London, and his son grew up in London, plays at a Premier League. So, I think what is fascinating with this, and this might be really cool, is there are some documentaries that basically will take you around the world. I saw one on Amazon when I was actually doing something for the MLS team, and I wanted to get a little more acquainted with the sport. And it was just a docu-series where they follow a sports team. They do it with, like, I don't know, Kansas City Chiefs. They did one with the Tottenham Hotspurs, which is a Premier League team. The Premier League is a league in England, and it is considered like the best. There's a couple other leagues in Europe that are very, very elite as well, like La Liga in Spain. But this basically follows a season with Tottenham Hotspur, and they just have some incredible players. And it basically kind of like fills you in on the drama. And I'd say, Neil, if you wanted to give the sport a shot, look, it may not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't have to Bill Maher you. I'm not a bully. I'm not a bully. I'm not like Bill. But I think there are some. I mean, there's tremendous stories from all over the world about people's relationship and story with this game, and you realize like it's a beautiful game not because of the rules. It's a beautiful game because of the engagement the world has, and you get to see the entire world play it and come together. I think it's profound. I think it's not unlike the Olympics, right? Where you can just step back and go, here we all are together, and we're not fighting a war. Like it's kind of cool. Way better than World
Right. Yeah.
World Cup, better than World War. There it is.
That's a good slogan. You should
Yeah.
work for BBDO or or
I think it is actually work for Joe Rogan. I was like, he's local.
only be so local. So you bring up an interesting point, and it occurs to me that this is one of the things that I know about soccer and like about soccer is, there are certain sports that are financially prohibitive. A lot of them, to be honest. Hockey,
Yeah.
swimming, equestrian, polo. Like some of these sports, you're just like,
Polo. Now we're talking. I mean, a pool's like
you know,
we can figure that out, but
people who
yeah.
are like, by the way, people who are like, oh, I really want the kids to learn golf. It'll be really good for, business when they're older. I'm just like, why are you speaking to me? And then they're like, I'm not. I'm talking to the fellow next to you. He works in private equity. And I'm like, that makes more sense. So, but soccer, all you need is a field and a ball. And in some cases, you don't even need a ball. I know that there are makeshift rocks and, like things that, kids cobble together to represent a ball, but it
Yeah.
is one side of a field. I mean, look,
Yeah.
in an ideal world, you have a goal, maybe that stays up, but you don't
Yeah.
need it. You just
No.
need
You don't need
field
much.
and ball. And I think that's, you know, I guess what like literally and figuratively level the playing field and probably why it is the global sport. Is that fair to say?
I think so. I mean, I just think that's an amazing thing. And at the risk of sounding insensitive, because I am Gen X and I learned wrong. I learned a lot of wrong stuff. You could be some kid in freaking Haiti, literally like in a field of like garbage, and you can literally go, let's make a ball and let's freaking play barefoot. And then that kid could be freaking playing in the World Cup. Like, I think that's just profoundly rad, you know? Was that insensitive? Was that being insensitive?
You know what? Well, I don't know. We'll ask our intern Isaac. See what he says. Isaac.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into just some basics so you
Please.
can understand soccer, aka football.
Explain like I'm 5. Now I will say I did assistant coach Zeke's soccer team, but he is 5, and so you don't actually have to know what you're doing. I was
That's
assistant
true.
coach, except sometimes the coach didn't show up because he had better things to do. So, I kind of had to just on the fly figure it out. But like, pretend I know nothing. Okay,
Mhm.
don't
All
listen.
right.
I know nothing about soccer.
Okay.
Explain like I'm 5. What is soccer?
Okay. Soccer is a game. It's a sport. There are two teams. Each team has 11 players. They have one ball, and they play 90 minutes. And the goal is to score as much as you can. Whoever scores the most wins. If it ends in a tie, it ends in a tie, and then there are circumstances where they will go into elimination, like extra time, and then if the extra time is used up, then you go into penalty kicks, which is super exciting. PKs. You know what? I highly recommend this. Just literally, I recommend you jump on YouTube Shorts and just look up PKs and stuff like that, and you'll just see you'll see you'll just cut to the gist. It's kind of like fourth quarter basketball. Let's just get to the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Just go to YouTube Shorts and you'll see some of this stuff, and maybe you'll catch it. And then I think what's super cool is, especially if you get into PKs, you'll see stuff like the whole bend it like Beckham is actually a thing because when you're watching the sport, the camera angle, a lot of it does have to do with what we can see televised. And I think it has improved. But, when you're farther away, you're kind of like, wait, what? What just happened? I even see this in volleyball. I'm like, was it in? Was it out? Or whatever. When you get into the recuts of great moments, whether they're but basically the goals, right? Whether it's PKs or actual in play, they will find like the better angle later. You know what I mean? And you will see just watching that ball arc in. Sometimes it seems like, what's the big deal? It just landed on the ground. But when that sucker is in the air and it bends into a corner, it's freaking amazing. That in itself is amazing. And just, it is crazy because it is think about in basketball, it's like a fast break. When all of a sudden you have a guy who's just been running the entire time. One stat I heard was a World Cup player spends 90 minutes sprinting 8 miles. Sprinting 8 miles. So you're freaking watching this game, and then all of a sudden you're 39th minute or at the 57th minute or freaking we're at 92, we're in the extra 7 minutes allotted, we're past the 90, and all of a sudden everyone's freaking out because somebody's got a fast break and they're darting down the freaking goal, and the chances of them scoring are always nil. And maybe, just maybe, there's a player who doesn't go selfish, who hits the brakes, passes the ball, and then the other guy freaking nails it in the goal. That is the moment that people have been waiting 90 plus minutes for. And then if you calculate the time World Cup happens, 90 minutes plus 4 years. And it's awesome. And it's awesome. But it is the build. You do need the context. And it was interesting. I will even tell you this. One element of how I think the sport's so global is a couple of years ago. So, we're season ticket holders to the MLS team. So, America does have a soccer league, Major League Soccer. It's relatively new, but it's something that, frankly, all sports need money in order to succeed. They need to make deals. They gotta, probably have that guy who's like, hey, I need you to learn golf so you can be successful in life, Neil. Sorry, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to your wife. I don't know who you have at your parties. But, we go to these games. We've been going for, last 3-4 years since the thing started. One time we were, I think, taking an Uber, and the gentleman was, I believe, from Africa, and then we just started talking about soccer, and he was like, oh yeah, a guy from my country plays for MLS. He plays for Austin FC. And I was like, oh, it's amazing. Have you ever gone to a game? And he goes, no. And we literally were like, because we have season tickets of 4 seats, because it's a lot easier to have 4 and then flip them or whatever versus 3, because obviously we're just a family of 3. So we were like, you should come to a game. So the guy came with us. We invited our Uber driver, and he came to a game with us. And what was so cool was, I'm going to assume he was completely grateful, Neil. But what was funny was having this dude there, and we're watching the game, and he's like, they're so slow. Because when you watch soccer at a better level, because MLS is they're trying. They're a younger sport. You know what I mean? America doesn't send their best athletes to play soccer, full stop. They want to do more lucrative things, right? Football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But it was really interesting because you're like,
this is your Uber driver on the way to the game?
yeah, and then we invited him. I don't know if he was on the way to the game, but we ended up later maybe
Uh-huh.
like several days or a week or two later,
Okay.
going, "Hey, you should come to a game with us." And he actually showed up. We were like, "This guy may not even show," and he
Uh-huh.
showed. He totally showed up. We took him to a game.
Did you buy him any drinks or food or?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't. I think we offered. I think he was just kind of like, I mean, look, there was probably a little sense of like, like I don't know these people. You know what I mean? Like we just were like, listen, like you should see your fellow countrymen. Like he knew him too. You know what I
Can I tell
mean?
you something? This kind of feels like a story that Uber marketing team needs to kind of like hear about.
Sure, yeah, I mean,
We
like we
we
just,
we were we invited our Uber driver to a soccer game and he came and we
yeah.
enjoyed
I
the
think it was Uber.
sport
What
with
if it
him.
was Lyft? Oh, Neil. I mean, this is a while ago.
Whoever's paying, baby. Whoever's paying.
I
World
love
Grid
the hate you
Chat
bit
is
too.
brought to you by Lyft or Uber. It's your call.
It's
Uber
brought to you by Luber. Whatever. I like Luber.
sponsored by.
But okay, good segue actually. This was totally I didn't mean to do this, but like you know what? Then the other thing that bugs me about soccer
Yeah.
is when I see kids walking around in the jerseys and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what's the sport? Like competitive headphones? They're just wearing like Spotify jerseys or
Yeah.
like different like Middle Eastern airlines. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
And you mentioned money infiltrating sports, and clearly soccer's not the only one, but it is bizarre to me that like it's not just like a sponsored by; it's the most
No.
prominent thing on the
Yeah.
jersey. It feels very NASCAR. I mean,
Yeah.
NASCAR has been lampooned for decades for just being like brand, 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 brand,
Yeah.
brand, brand, brand. Where like it all, you're just like, oh, you're just capitalism encapsulated. But when you see a kid walking around with like Exxon Mobil, I'm like,
I
how
know.
is this soccer? So explain that to me.
I mean, welcome to the, this is why it becomes, I mean, sadly, this is how things grow. You know what I mean? It's lucrative. Like, people watch it, people make a lot of money playing the game. Like, I just got for my birthday, I got a Bayern Munich jersey, and it's got a big fat T-Mobile on it. It's crazy. You're like, what? Really? Is this how it
How
is?
crazy is it? What did you spend on that?
I mean, they gifted it to me, but I want to say it
Huh.
was, I mean, I want to say, so I feel like a proper jersey will be like, I mean, 100 to 200 depending. Like you can get like a cheaper version or a nicer version, but you want to plan on spending, you're going to have to spend about a hundo to get in there, you
But can
know?
you imagine? I mean, you can because you've done it. Spending $200 to be a walking sandwich board for T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Get out of here, T-Mobile. You pay me. You pay me to wear your emblem.
Well, what's funny is I really started to notice this. This is a hot take, just has the corporate advertising just gotten in the way of sports? What I've started to really notice with this stuff is when you have arenas change names all of a sudden. Like I remember when Staples Center opened, it was like, oh, cool, Staples Center. It's awesome. It's really nice. This is where the Lakers play, the Clippers play too, the Kings, and it's a great facility. And then you're like, I never thought about, oh, Staples like the store. I just, you know what I mean? And then they changed, because they got a new corporate sponsor, and you're like, oh, God, like Oracle, like where Golden State plays. It's insane. Now, at least with Madison Square Garden, you don't have that, but it is crazy how
Oh
the
yeah,
rest of
I
the
guess I never
country is
thought about
built.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's like
crazy,
City
man.
Field, is not going to be City Field forever, right? Like that's where the Mets play. When
Exactly. It's
does
weird
City
how it's kind of
go?
quietly slipped
Oh
in
yeah.
there, but you're like, what the hell, man?
Okay, Citigroup. I mean, again, this is like a finance company. Citigroup's naming rights agreement expires after the 2028 MLB season. So it's like, what are we going to call it? Like Ronald McDonald Field? Like yeah, we're going over to Ronald McDonald. Go watch the Mets play.
to be fair, it's very possible. And you bring up, it's so crazy. It is. It's, the only thing I'll say is like, I will say this. I mean, Bayern. I like Bayern Munich because they're really good in FIFA 23. Heath got that game, and so I was like, I'm gonna pick this team because it's really, really good. And so I just kind of that became my team or whatever. And it does the T-Mobile thing also because like I have T-Mobile, they kind of suck, and I'm like, that sucks. But I think for whatever reasons, if I had to pick a corporate logo that I'm like, this isn't that bad, I think I'd pick Emirates because at least it's like a really nice airline. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a product. Rolex. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If you're going to have to do, remember in the 80s into the 90s, we would wear a Calvin Klein shirt without it being sponsoring a sports team. Did you wear Calvin Klein, Neil? Did you do that?
Uh, I mean, maybe unintentionally. I wasn't a little bit younger. I wasn't like the Mark Wahlberg
I didn't
hairline.
say underwear. I just meant a t-shirt with a quad. Didn't go the underwear route.
Probably, yeah. I mean, at some point, but like not exclusively. You know, I think it made its way into my drawer. I don't know. My mom did basically
Ruffalo
all
and
my
polo.
shopping.
I'm just. You know what? Maybe we always have been billboards for big labels. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just
Well, not
always.
always, because remember that scene in Back to the Future where uh, Marty McFly's mother, Lorraine, she starts calling him Calvin because she said, "Well, that's what it says in your underpants." So I think that I don't think brands were as big. I guess Don Draper is the reason we have brands the way
Yeah,
we have.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so back to soccer.
Yes,
So what have you learned? That there's two teams,
I
11
knew
guys.
that. I knew that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
knew all this. Okay.
I knew there were two
Um,
teams. I knew that you want to score. How does it work with the well, how does the World Cup work? I mean, I know there's 48 teams, but is it like kind of like
yes.
March Madness? Are they bracketed? Like you gotta, is it one single elimination? I don't really understand.
You know what's funny? That is something that I've always kind of like struggled with too. I think I
Oh,
need to keep
great.
in
You're
here.
the one who's supposed to be explaining it to me.
Well, I have a relationship with the sport, and it's more about a celebratory fashion. But like there's qualification, so not every country qualifies, right? So every 4 years, some teams do, some teams don't. They all enter like this group stage, and then they all play each other within the group, and then as they play, they basically are gathering points. So it's not even just an elimination thing. But guess what? If you lose all the games in your group, you're not going to advance. So you can basically like win, lose, win. You can advance. You can obviously win out. You advance. But I wish I knew the exact things, but some teams advance, some don't. You know what I mean? And then it is crazy too. Like I would say this, like look at like you're gonna have some teams that are like, whoa, here they come again. Like the Germans are really good. Like there was one World Cup where the Germans won like in the final like 5-0 and they were just like and I don't think there was any exact superstar. And that's another thing too. Especially if you watch this one, Messi just scored a record. He scored he's scored 5 goals. Okay? 5 goals so far in this World Cup, right? Three in one game, two in another. He has now 18 goals. It is a world record. So you're actually watching a game that's almost 100 years old that has some real icons in the sport like Pele. You know what I mean? And also what's kind of cool is they don't necessarily come from like the richest country in the world. I think what is cool about the World Cup is that it is something where America dominates in the Olympics, right? They dominate in the Olympics. They don't. The men's U.S. team, the women do. The women are very good, right? But the men's U.S. team does not dominate the way they do in the Olympics, and I find that's just it's a wonderful perspective. It's a wonderful
Isn't that
perspective.
part of because America doesn't prioritize soccer as a sport, and so all of our best athletes are going
Yeah,
into football, basketball, baseball, tennis even. I mean,
yeah,
they're not pursuing soccer in the
yeah,
same way.
yeah. I mean, bottom line is there is no financial opportunity that can equate to playing professional basketball in the U.S. or football in the
Right.
U.S. Right now, if you can play in Europe. Well, you
Yeah.
can. Can you make a lot of money playing soccer? Yes. Can you do it in the US? No. Um, could that change? Possibly, because some teams are now paying. Like there's this player named Sun who is epic. He is Korean, a Korean national, I believe, from South Korea. He played for Tottenham Hotspur. Think he played, I think in Europe. Heath would know this stuff. See, this is where he crushes me. Like, what's so funny with this is Brearley and I will watch the full games, right? But Heath will come down because of freaking YouTube Shorts. Because of YouTube Shorts, he knows everything. He's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. This guy's good. That guy's good. I'm like, my God, the information. And I think what is interesting is, with that new generation, the new generation, they see the light. Like, there could be more interest in just seeing other stuff. And who knows? Who knows? I think it'd be interesting. And by the way, the U.S. has done pretty good. Like you never know. You never know. We could be standing, Neil, on the precipice of change. Thank you for coming to my library. That was a little,
Not great. Um, Let me ask you a loaded question here. Would you
loaded.
rather walk out of the stadium? Who's your team? What's the name of your team?
I like Bayern Munich for
Oh, no, no, no.
country.
I'm back to domestic, where you have the season tickets.
Oh, Austin FC. Austin
All right.
FC.
So, would you rather walk out of an Austin FC get match and have watched one of the most exciting games you've ever seen that ended in 0-0, or kind of a boring game where your team won 2-0?
It's funny because ties happen. Like, well, I mean, it's kind of crazy. That's interesting. You know what? Like, a lot of this does have to do with the bigger ramifications, right? Like, if we're approaching playoffs and it's like LAFC and that changed the seeding, then yeah, I mean, it is. I think that's a big thing. Like, it's great to score goals, but if you're beating on frickin', the Minneapolis Wild, no, that's the hockey team. I forget their team. The Seattle Sounders. Like, it just depends. And they're all pretty good too. It's kind of well, this is a loaded question because Austin FC has struggled lately. So, for us to get 2-0 would be a score, but I'll tell you, like, I feel like we do have a rivalry, or we hate LAFC because, I have a lot of friends in LA who are LAFC and they'll trash our team and they are very good. So it would be great to tie them because, you know what I mean? It's kind of loaded, like is there it's crazy. Like, who? I mean, I know you're relatively new to the Knicks world, but who's like the Knicks' biggest rival?
Oh, uh, I mean, historically, wasn't it like the Celtics? Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, you could kind of go Lakers, Celtics. I just didn't know if there was a team the Knicks fans.
Pacers are widely considered the Knicks' biggest rival. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, that's the thing is like, I'd rather tie a rival than beat on some team. You know what I mean? That like has no
Okay.
uh, like doesn't really mean anything to us. But like honestly, like Austin FC, it's been slim pickings and a win's a win, and it's great to
Yep.
see goals. But like I'll tell you, the frustrating thing, it's
Yep.
like kind of being a Clippers fan, is like I just want to get into the second round. I want to get past the second round. I'm hungry for. There's other things I'm hungry for. So I think there's the context that matters. You know what I mean?
Okay. Fair
Um,
enough. Well, what else do I need to know if I was gay? I'm not sold. I think
yeah.
I'm encouraged. Feels a little bit interesting, but
hmm
like who are the U.S. players I should even be rooting for, or is that a lost cause? And if so, which team should I be rooting for? Because I'm kind of like, yeah, they all seem like they're. I don't have like quite the emotional buy-in that I need to really care about this World Cup. So sell me on it. Sell me on soccer. Sell me on the World Cup, Ollie.
Okay, so I have to confess, like I rare. It's easy to not pay attention to the U.S. team because they rarely advance, and then a lot of these guys. It's so funny because like there is one guy who's like the poster child, uh, Pulisic. this guy Christian Pulisic is kind of the poster child for it, and like the U.S. has done well, but I think like this is where it gets interesting for me because when we started watching the World Cup, there's two ways I got into it. One was who are the matches, what countries are playing, and let's have people over and let's have some fun. Kind of essentially preparing food for it. So I remember there was one year that was wait, what was it? Was Germany, Mexico? So it was awesome. Like, you know what I mean? I had like freaking tacos going over here and sausages, like, a bunch of like German link sausages going on over there. I think that's like super rad. And I remember we went to the World Cup final when who was it? Argentina. They got destroyed by France or Spain. It was Messi was playing, and our friend's the wife was Argentinian, and they hooked it up. I mean, like, like it's just it's what's so great about this stuff is like you literally get to like get global with the celebration aspects of it. So that thing's really huge. And the other thing is I'm so mad that I don't have it right in front of me. But we get the Panini book, right? So the Panini book is like a sticker book, right? It has every team that's playing in this year's World Cup. And with the roster, you have these blank areas where you get Panini pack cards, and the cards will have players. You peel, it's a sticker, you peel the sticker off and you fill up the book with it. And what's really cool about it is it's almost like being like a little kid. And you're like, here's a book of the world, Neil. Neil, I want you to learn about Paraguay and Uruguay and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Even when I just see the abbreviations of the countries, it's kind of like that wonderful thing that's floating above your head. A map of the world. It gives you a sense that we are all together on this planet. It's almost like when the astronauts go into space and they look back at the blue ball and go, wow, that's our planet. It gives you a sense of place. And I just think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's second only to me to like literally traveling internationally to be like, wow, look at this big, beautiful world, and we are just a part of it. And I want to experience other things with other parts of the world and other peoples and other cultures, and we can get along. I'm so tempted to try my Obama again, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to.
Close it out. Close it out with Obama. Come on.
Really?
Oh.
The thing is, we're all here together. And when we do things together, things get done. And you don't have to like the World Cup today or even tomorrow or even a year from now. But if you give it a chance, you might find that, like me, you'll find yourself sitting in an $800 million library, much to the chagrin of Bill Maher and his cronies. And yes, we can, Neil. Yes, you can enjoy the World Cup. And maybe you will get your own library someday. I want to thank you. I want to thank all the presidents for being here. And I know everyone loves to see Michelle take pictures with George Bush. That's what we really want. You like that? Altoids.
A little Wilford Brimley at the end, but it was good. Good enough.
Wow. I'm surprised you knew Wilford Brimley. I thought that was before your time.
Not just a hat rack. Happy Father's Day. Happy World Cup, everyone.
Yeah, get into it. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Watch a game today.
Maybe.